Hello, welcome back. As you may know from the last video, I filmed way too much content to put into one video, and so this is the second half of how to create a Notion page from scratch. And so today we're going to talk about using the elements from last week's video into building a cohesive and unique and customized Notion page for your needs, whatever they may be. So I'm going to walk you through a couple different spreads you can do for a Notion page depending on what you're trying to accomplish, and just give you some ideas of how you can use the elements so that way you'll know what to do for your own Notion page and you can find some helpful tips and tricks from that. So without further ado, we'll get on to the video. Alrighty, so we're gonna dive in here on how to build this page. First of all, I'm just gonna make a list. I'm gonna make a list of all the things I could think that my sister would need on her homepage that would be beneficial for her. So I'm just gonna do a list. So I just hit the little like minus sign and that just turns into a bullet. She needs like a meal planner. She needs a school planner. She needs a personal page section. She needs a future. She's applying to nursing school, so I would say like nursing school tracker. Another one I'm gonna add on here, she does travel quite a bit, so I would put like a travel section. I would also say she probably would need maybe like a cleaning schedule for like the house. She may also need a work section. And then I would say like hobbies. I have a hobby one and it's really helpful. I'm gonna put scrapbooking just since I know I'm building a scrapbook for her. So she's gonna need that on there. Anyways, this gives us a good start. This gives us some things that she's gonna be working towards. Okay, so one thing, if you feel like you don't have enough space right here, like I'm like, oh, I need a blank space here. What I'll do is I'll go down here. You can take this and drag it, and now you have a space. So you can use that for whatever. I'm gonna give a couple spaces here for myself. I'm gonna do 4 columns. I'm trying to decide how I want to break up all these different things. So one of the first things I noticed is she has like personal stuff on here. She has home stuff on here. She has work stuff, and then she's also gonna have school stuff. So I think for her, this is probably the columns that she needs. Now I'm gonna take each of these points and you can just drag it right over here. I'm gonna put them here for now. That's what I just love about this. It's like so easy to move things. That's where I feel like I can get messy and it's gonna be fine. Like I don't have to like erase anything. Nursing school, I'm gonna put that here. Travel planner, seems like a personal thing. Cleaning, home. I already have a work section for her. Hobbies, I'm gonna put personal. So I've got kind of 4 sections here. I don't know. I'm trying to think what she would need for work. I'm gonna say she might need something with, I know she likes her job, but I don't know totally what her plans are, but maybe she needs to be looking for a new job. So I'm gonna put that one on there. She is a teaching assistant, so I'm gonna put that on there, and then she's a research assistant. So I can go ahead and put that on there because, you know, maybe she will need a couple different things there. I'm actually just gonna take hobbies off and just keep them as main points because she doesn't have a lot of stuff here. So I kind of have a couple things in each category, and these are gonna be turned into pages. So I'm gonna start with the meal planner because I feel like that's a pretty easy generic one that everyone will appreciate. I'm gonna backspace this, I'm gonna hit the back arrow, and I'm gonna turn it into a page. And I'm gonna call it meal planner. So again, we have a completely blank page. I'm gonna set it to my preferred settings here. Great. I'm gonna add an icon, food, cooking. This looks great to me. That kind of looks like a Target. I think I'm gonna do maybe this one. Okay, and then I'm gonna add a cover photo. So I'm gonna find something that kind of reminds me of the kitchen, but also is kind of more in line with her scheme that I feel like she'll want. So I think this one should be fine. I'm gonna reposition this just a little bit. That to me looks really cute. So I'm gonna start with an empty page. Now, I know for her, she wants a lot of recipes, and there's a couple different things I could do here with this. I think that's the challenging thing about building Notion pages. It's all about how you want to organize things, and there's a lot of different ways you could organize the same thing, so it just depends. For meal planner, the first thing that I will just know you'd want on this main page at the very least is you are going to want a calendar. So you're going to scroll down to calendar view, and then I'm going to say new database. I'm going to hide this right here because I don't think it's necessary, but you could title it if you wanted to. This part you can rename, and so I feel like I just put it there. So I'm just going to call it meals, or maybe meal calendar. I'm going to do meal calendar. And then I'm also going to add an additional view. It's going to show the same information on both. It's just how you're viewing it. So for example, this one, I'm going to put in a list. For every meal she puts on the calendar, it will also appear in the meal list. You can do this a couple different ways. You could say, hey, tomorrow we're going to have chicken Alfredo with zucchini. And from what you are seeing here, this is a page view, so you can add an icon, you can add a cover, you can blow it up into a normal page like so, and then you can come back here, it's right here, but you can also just see this. The nice thing is you can go in here and you can put the recipe. So if you haven't made it before and you don't want to go to the link, or you can even add a link here. So I'm just going to Google really quickly. Chicken Alfredo recipe. Amazing. We're just going to take this one and I'm going to copy the link here. I'm going to move it into here, and now I can do link, or actually not link. I think it's a bookmark. So then I'm just going to paste the thing, create a bookmark. So now when I come into here, I can just directly go to the link and it'll show me where it is. So that way you don't necessarily have to go through Pinterest. But if I also wanted to, if I just wanted to copy and paste the recipe itself, I can just take this, copy. Okay, so I can just take the recipe, copy that again. I can put it in here, and boom, I have the whole recipe in here. So then you can keep this as a digital like recipe book if you wanted to. But that's the other nice thing about the list view, is you can come here and you're like, well, what do I want for dinner? You can come here, and each time you put something on the calendar, it'll just make this running list. So I can look back a couple months and see what I made a couple months ago to get ideas. However, I think sometimes using this for your recipes might not be the easiest, because if you're using the same recipe over and over again, you may not want to like copy and paste the recipe in there each time. And I feel like for my sister, just from what I know about her, I feel like she's not going to just want to come down here and find the day. This is more just for meal planning. So what I'm going to do up here is I'm going to have dinner recipes. I need to make it a page. So I'm going to make a page for her that's dinner recipes. Again, we're going to go ahead and add in our preferred settings. Icon, we're going to do dinner. Food. What's something dinner? I feel like the onion looks the most dinner related to me. And I'm going to add a cover here, and I'm going to do neutral dinner. Just see kind of what comes up here. That's the one we want. I'm going to reposition this. I know one of her goals is to have easy dinner recipes. So this is going to be a section. I'm going to kind of organize this a little bit here. So I think we'll get a couple columns. I'm going to do maybe 3 columns. So you can type in the first thing and it'll pull it up. So I'm going to do 3 columns. I'm going to do easy dinners, Sunday dinners, because sometimes those take a little longer. And this one, I'm going to do dinners to try. Those would be recipes that I haven't tried yet, but I want to try, that she's going to want to try, because this is for her. So then right here, I would just have a running list of all these recipes. So for one thing, I would do a page, and let's say the recipe is, let's say it's this chicken Alfredo. Again, preferred settings. If you wanted to do a cover photo, you could, but I feel like doing it for every single recipe would be a bit of a hassle. Let's see if we can do chicken. Yep, wonderful. I'm gonna do chicken Alfredo. And then I'm gonna go ahead, then we'll add the recipe in here. So then you've got everything you need. So I'm gonna go back to dinner recipes. I have this chicken Alfredo recipe. So when I come in here, I'm like, okay, tonight I'm making chicken Alfredo. It's in dinner recipes. It's under easy dinners. Boom, there's my recipe. It doesn't change. It stays in the same place, whereas on the calendar, it could move. So that's how I plan that. And then you could do lunch recipes. I'm just gonna kind of make a list. Lunch recipes. I'm not gonna like customize anything too crazy, just because I think you get the idea. But then I would do like maybe breakfast, sides, desserts. So you've got these things that can be, like I said, an appendix where it's like you come to use this as a reference page, whereas this part is more of a planning section. So that's a meal planner. So for a school planner page, I would probably want to change this page every semester. If you want to take notes in here for class, you might want to hold on to these for a while because sometimes you like to reference your notes. I sure do. So what I would do is I would say, maybe I would do my undergrad. This is something that I would use as kind of my home page for my school assignments. That's not even spelled right. I don't know. Undergraduate. That's why we're having the issue. Add a cover. Let's do neutral school and see what we find. Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that one. That's way cool. Okay. She'll love that one. Little schoolhouse. Now that we're here, one thing you could potentially do is you could do again a 4 columns. Freshman year. This one you do a sophomore year, junior year, senior year. So you could do it like that, and then you could organize, you could do pages under there of like, this would be a page and you would do semester 1, or you could do fall semester, and then you could, if you wanted to, you could add the date. Let's say you did 2017. You could make that, and then you would do that for all of these. If you didn't want to do it like that, you could do a calendar, which I think you should absolutely do. And this calendar, I would put all of my assignments that were due for the whole semester. You can tag things in here. So if you wanted to make a tag, you could tag it with what class it was in. You have the dates. I would put all of my assignments and all of my tests that were due, and just all of my academic plans. And again, I would do a timeline view, so that way I could see when was this, or when does this need to get done by. If you had a project that was a long project, I would say project, and I would maybe put it the whole entire duration. So add an end time here. Let's say it ends in a month. So then you see on here, we've got this project that's going to be going throughout the whole thing. And then when you see it on the timeline, you see really when it's going to be. I would also put a list view. I think that would be really helpful just to kind of see things in order. And you could put as much detail into these pages as you would like. So if you wanted to go through and list all the details of the project, you absolutely could. So let's say that was more of like your assignments thing, but then underneath it, maybe you would have this whole thing right here. Maybe you have all this, maybe this is underneath. And this is more of your, oh gosh, I'm not gonna redo that. But maybe that's more of your archive, and this is more of your current stuff. So maybe you have your calendar first, and then under here you have a page, and then you have class 1. So you have 7 classes. I would do like 4 columns. Class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4. I would do class 5, class 6, class 7. So then you would have your classes here, and you would make this be whatever you would want it to be. So for this class, one thing I would probably also do is I'm going to do 2 columns here. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this second column is this is where I'm going to put the calendar. This is going to be my calendar for just this class. So let's say this is pathophysiology. So that's for this class. Again, I would maybe do the timeline. I would also maybe do the list. I would do kind of that same thing, but then I'm going to move this over here. And then over here, I'm going to make this my to-do list. So that way for this class, I can add, okay, read chapter, complete homework, revise notes. And then when I finish, I'm done with it. Check, check, check. You could go through every week. You could add a to-do list there. And then maybe down here, we're gonna have another 2 columns, but this time our columns are gonna be different sizes. We're gonna do class notes in this column. Maybe in this column here, we have questions for a professor. And then this one, I would do the topic. So I'd make a page. Let's say this is my endocrinology notes. Then I would take notes in here however you see fit. But then I'd be like, okay, how does glucose bypass GLUT4 receptors? Maybe that's a question. So then maybe I would take that to my professor. But then maybe if I get the answer, well, it would say it goes in with another molecule. Okay, so then maybe I have my answer there, and then I can just keep these notes here, or these questions and the answers here, and then later I can go and transfer them into my notes to clarify. What else would I need for school? To-do lists, calendar, questions, class notes. Maybe I have a section for projects. Let's say there's a project on essay on a topic that you have to write. and this is like my spreadsheet. I can plan things out here. And let's say this is how I want my spread to be. If this is how I want my spread to be, then what I will do is I'll go back to undergraduate. That's the spread I want for all my classes. So I'm gonna go and hit button. It's gonna be named class template. So every class I take, I don't have to reinvent the wheel. So then whenever I want to create a class, boom. I have the same setup every single time. If you want to revise the template, you just come in here and you click on it, and then you can revise the template for it. So then let's say you do this whole semester of all your classes and you're done. You're done with your fall semester. And then you just take all your classes and boop, drop it into there. There's all your class notes. There's everything from your class right there, but it's not taking up this whole page, so you're ready for the next semester. So I kind of will use some of these pages as like archives, but then it allows you to keep everything within the same place. So that's maybe how I would set up a school page. But then I come back here and voila, I have this. Maybe I also want to have like routines on here, might be kind of nice. I feel like all of those showed a lot of different ways of utilizing things. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and show you one other thing for the questions, just to show you another feature. And this whole video is just to show you all these features and how they could be used, so you can kind of build and customize your own blocks. Something I can do if people are interested is I can do a tour of my Notion page to give you ideas about things. I also will use Pinterest and YouTube and stuff like that to find other people's. So questions. Let's say I don't want to do it in this format. Let's say I want to keep a running list. What I could do instead is do a table view. And then this one will be a header row. Let's spread this out the whole way here. This is going to be my questions, answers. I'm going to say, how does glucose bypass GLUT4 receptor? Answer. Goes in with another molecule. Okay, great. Wonderful. I love that. That's how I'd use like a table. You can use it for whatever. I feel like that was a lot of information. Like a lot of little things to do. So that's kind of maybe how I would set up a Notion page just to get started. And I will admit, on my own Notion page, some things look just like this. Some things I use a lot, and so it's very well developed, but other things, it's literally just like a blank page. And I'm like, okay, I want to do this someday, but it's not like all pretty and refined yet. So it does take quite a bit of time to design your own Notion pages and to create something that's functional and pleasing to the eye. This is something that you kind of just continue to do until you find what works for you, what's helpful. So I would say that is a really good start on how to do that. Hopefully that was helpful for you to kind of see, let's build everything from scratch. Please let me know in the comments if you have questions, if you want to see something built. We can go ahead and build it. I'm happy to take suggestions. I have so many other things with Notion that I want to dive a little deeper on, and so I'm going to do continuous videos on different elements and how to plan different kinds of pages on Notion. Like this video if it was helpful, and if you want to see more, subscribe so you can get notified when new videos go live. But yeah, let me know your feedback. I love to hear it. I feel like I know all this stuff, but I don't necessarily know what people want to know or what's interesting for other people, and so I love ideas on what would be helpful. But thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you are able to build a good Notion page off of this. The next video I want to film is about how to make your Notion page more aesthetically pleasing. So once you get these bare bones in place, then from there you can kind of spice things up, and I will show you that in the next video. So have a great week, and happy Notion creating, building, thriving, hopefully, with all the new tips and tricks, and hopefully you're able to organize your life a little bit better with that.